Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. Ocho, we have a very special guest joining us, the reigning 200-meter Olympic champ. She's a member of the winning World Championship 4x1. She ran a blistering third leg. They qualified this morning with the fastest time, even though they had a little hiccup between TT and herself with the exchange. They're going to correct that. Going to win another gold medal. We're going to talk about her possibly running a leg on the 4x4. Welcome us, ladies and gentlemen, Gabby Thomas.
Gabby,
yay!
Let's go.
I forgot to mention she also has a undergrad degree in neurobiology, and she has a master's degree in epidemiology.
Ooh, that's right.
That correct? And she's currently employed at the in Austin, where she serves underprivileged women. Is that correct?
Yeah,
also?
yeah. I volunteer at a healthcare clinic where I provide healthcare services to people who don't have health insurance.
Ooh, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. With you doing as much as you're doing, especially when it comes to academics, how do you manage balancing your academics? I mean, hold on. How do you balance your athletics with your academic pursuits in neurology and sleep? How you say it? How you say it, Epidemiology. Yeah. How do you balance the two?
Well, I think because I started out as an NCAA athlete, all collegiate athletes, it's hard. It's hard to balance it, but you kind of figure it out and you make it work. And so I was juggling a difficult major and track and field. And when I was running in college, track and field wasn't quite at the level that I'm running at now. We were still very committed to it. Like we were training like really elite D1 athletes. Like we were going to LSU or like we went to Oregon and stuff like that. So I kind of got the ropes in college. And then the transition from college to pro was it was easier.
Wow. That's dope, man. Let me ask you this. How much pressure, because you got the bronze at the last Olympics, you got the silver, if I'm not mistaken, at the past Worlds. You're the face of this big ad with Toyota. You're the face of this. Now, Shericka Jackson, she steps out. That's even because there was pressure on you to do better than what you did at the last Olympics. Now Shericka has withdrawn. Now there's a ton of pressure. We had Justin Gatlin, who's a world champion and an Olympic champ. We had Michael Johnson, a world champ and an Olympic champ. He says sometimes the things that can weight an individual and an athlete down is expectations. How much, what type of burden were the expectations? You're the face of this Toyota ad. Okay, Gabby, you're out there. Okay, we see you. You better bring home gold.
I know. Everyone kept texting me talking about, oh, I see you on Toyota everywhere. Like before trials, even before I even made the Olympic team, they were showing my face on the Toyota ads everywhere. Yes. So I hadn't even become like the Olympian yet. So there was definitely a lot of pressure. And for me in 2021, like coming from Harvard and not having any, medals or having made any USA team, it was just a lot of fun for me. Like I was going out there and running and no one had any expectations. So I was having a great time. I was like, all right, let's go line up next to Allyson Felix. Let's go see what happens. It'll be great. And then as soon as I made the Olympic team, it changed. And then as soon as I got a bronze medal, it changed. Now suddenly people are talking about, okay, if you don't medal, now, that's an L, right? If you don't make this team next year, that's a big L. And so it immediately changed my mindset. And then even going into this year, I'm going in as a favorite. And I was telling people before I even stepped up to the line for my prelim, I have never felt this type of pressure before in my entire life. I mean, you walk out there and you're by yourself. Like you don't have a team to take that loss with you. If someone messes up, there's no redo. There's no next play. There's none of that. It's like, all right, you're going to go out there by yourself in front of 80,000 people. And then, the millions of people watching at home. And if you don't get it right in this one moment, especially in the short sprints, it's over. So it's definitely a lot of pressure. But for me, I practice I meditate. I practice focus. So if you can dissociate in that moment, that separates the good athletes from the great athletes. If you're over there on the line thinking about how many people are watching you, you're going to mess up. And you can see it in people's faces when they line up to the line. You can tell when you're watching an athlete, you look in their eyes and you can see like, okay, this person has figured it out. They're about to knock this race out. And someone who's scared and they're like, all right, this is going to be, they're going to have to fight for this.
Before you go to the line, before you line up, before you go into the blocks, do you envision the race and play it out in your head before you actually run? Because when I think from a football standpoint, I would look at the first 15 plays are always scripted, right? And so before we go into a game, I envision what the route will look like, regardless to who's in front of me and how I'm going to execute it. Do you do that as a runner right before a big event with that kind of pressure?
100%. I had envisioned that race 100 times at least before I ran it over the last week. I envisioned every single, I envisioned the walkout, getting into the blocks, the first couple of steps. I envisioned like the middle end, who's outside of me. I had ran it through my head so many times to the point where I could have ran that race with my eyes closed. That's how perfectly I wanted to feel comfortable in that race. Now, when I actually won, like that was a different story. I couldn't have envisioned, how that was going to feel, what I was going to do, but every single step, what I was going to do, I had already pictured in my head. In my head, I had already won. Like I was already the Olympic champion. And so I had to go out with that mindset.
Yeah. I like it.
Gabby, I watched you in this race. And what surprised me is that you had a tune-up race before a pre-Olympic race. And you raced Jillian Alfred. You raced Dina Asher-Smith. Nita was also in that race. And you did not get out in that race like you did in the Olympic final. What did you learn? Because you gave up too much of a cushion. You're like, I ain't making that mistake again. I'm not making that mistake again.
And no, that race that was a wake-up call for me. So first of all, I want to start off by saying that was the London Diamond League race.
Yeah.
It is very difficult. A lot of our races are overseas. And when you train in the United States, that is very difficult. So for me, I knew going in those girls have been in Europe. So I had to get off a plane, line up. And I knew, I'm like, all right, I'm a little jet lagged right now. So it's going to be tough, but we're going to make this happen. And so that's what jet lag looks like. You feel like you're ready. You might feel ready. You're fit, you're fast, whatever. But that 1% difference is everything. So when I got off that curve in that race and I realized how far behind I was, I panicked. I was like, oh shoot, like I might actually lose this race. And you don't want to go into the Olympics having a loss under your belt. It's just not good for your confidence. So everything I could to win that race. But the thing is, it just gave me confidence because I knew I could win anyway. So I knew I could win even if I was 30 meters behind the field. I was like, I'm going to figure out a way to win. I knew I could win if I came off the turn in front, in the mix or dead last. So it gave me that confidence going into the Olympics. And it really just became a question of, how am I going to win this race? Am I going to get out well, or am I just going to have to fight for it? And so it was less of a question of if I'm going to win. It was more so like, how am I going to win?
The thing that I like most about you is that you didn't panic. Because a lot of times we see people in races, like you said, you got off a plane, you're jet lagged, and you're like, well, I don't have it today, but I'm okay. Or they panic in the race and it exacerbates the situation.
Yeah, they tense up.
You relaxed and said, I believe I still have my training and the foundation in which I put forth. I believe I still can catch these women. And in the last 20 meters, I'm like, where did she come from?
Exactly. And that's you got to go into the race with confidence and trust in the training and trust in everything that you've done. And that's what I did. The worst thing you can do is panic and tense up in a sprint. I mean, every little thousandth of a second counts. And if you're stressed out, running panicked, that's it.
Gabby, have you thought about it? I don't know. And there's some speculation that this might be Sid's last 400 hurdle race, and she might be looking to go to the open 400. There have only been a handful of people. Valerie Briscoe Hooks did it. She won the 2 and the 4 in the 84 Olympics. Marie-Josée Perec did it in 96, along with Michael Johnson. A lot of people don't realize that, but in that same Olympics that Mike doubled, the French woman, she doubled. Is that something that you've thought about, going up to the 200 and maybe challenging, asking the federation to say, you know what, could y'all stagger this a little bit to give me a little bit more time to recover? Or maybe the 1-2, or maybe the 2-4. But have you thought about something like that?
I have thought about it. And even, for our Olympic trials this year, I really was going to double. I was going to do the 400 and the 200. Ultimately, we decided that this was my year for the 200 and that we were going to focus on that alone. So I dropped out at the last minute. But I've definitely considered it. I think for now, it's just been like, all right, let's make this happen. Let's get an Olympic gold under my belt so I can get that title and keep it. But I think in the future, absolutely, I'm going to have to prove to the world and to myself that I have what it takes to double. You know, Michael Johnson had already set the precedent. Like everyone that we knew, you know, he was going to go out and double and make some noise in both events. So you need someone who's really going to show up in both events and be a gold medal contender. And I definitely do see myself in the future being that in the 400. But right now we got, I mean, like you said, we have a steep pool of 400 meter runners. I mean, even Sydney, you know, she could stop the hurdles and run the 400 and it would be insane. So I would have to step up.
Yeah, that's dope. So are you in the pool for the 4x4? Would you like to run a leg on that? Because we saw Allyson Felix, we've seen Abby Steiner do it, and you can run sub 50, and that's saying something.
Oh, you want to leg? I want to leg, absolutely. Look, I ran my quarter this year. I went to World Relays this year. I ran that leg for Team USA. I got us qualified. So I'm in the pool. We've had some practices. We don't know the relay order yet. You know, it's always going to be a surprise for Team USA because it's going to be whoever is ready on that day. So we got to see how the quarter milers look in their finals. We got to see how people are looking in practice. We got to see how I look in this 4x1 tomorrow. So we're going to see how everyone looks, and then the relay coach decides who's on it. But I absolutely want a spot. Absolutely.
I like it. I'm more curious. I like the fact that something that you were able to do, something that I was very horrible at, is the fact that you were able to balance academics and still excel at your craft. I was horrible at it. As someone who also went to Harvard, right? One semester. Did you have an advantage based on your academic pursuits in neurobiology and sleep epidemiology, right? Does that give you an influence and different perspective on health and fitness? Because when it comes to health, I eat McDonald's. I still do to this day. Throughout the entirety of my career, I ate McDonald's. Does it give you an advantage, you know, in different perspective on health and fitness?
I think so. I think in college, I had a very good and deep understanding of the importance of sleep and the importance of my health and how that affected my recovery. And, you know, as an elite athlete, recovery is at least half the battle. And in track and field, I would say it's definitely the majority of the battle. And so having that actual understanding of what's going on and what happens when you only get 6 hours of sleep a night, you know, instead of 9 or 10, like that definitely did make a difference. I had an appreciation for it. And when you actually understand why you're doing something you're doing, you definitely are more committed to it. So I was committed to that discipline. And that discipline is what got me to where I am today, because I was never like the most talented athlete. That's why I didn't go to one of those, you know, really crazy track schools, but I was very disciplined and I did everything correct. I did everything right. And it got me here. And I think it's because I had that education and I had that background and that foundation.
That's dope.
I read that. Go ahead, Ocho.
Yeah. And just for the people that listen, if you listen to her answer, there's one word that she said 3 times. One word. And if we all had this, we would all excel in whatever it is that we do. And the key word she kept saying over and over was discipline.
Discipline.
And that's what we all struggle with.
Yeah. I read that Allyson Felix is one of your biggest inspirations, and you kind of mind your stride patterns. She's a long strider, elongated strider, so is yourself. So have you had an opportunity to talk to Allyson since you won the gold?
Oh, I haven't gotten to talk to her since I've won the gold, but I see what she had to say about my race. And it's such an honor. Just the fact that she's watching me just has me so excited. And like, I don't know, the little girl in me is like screaming because she, you know, she believed in me for like the race. I saw her walk through my race on video and talking about, oh, she looks so great just walking up to the line. And then I got out strong and hard and then held on. She's like, no one's catching me. And I was just like, this is such an honor. I was so excited. But I spoke to her before the Olympics and, you know, she gave me advice and she told me to just keep doing exactly what I've been doing. Enjoy the moment. You know, everything that I've done to get to this point means I'm moving in the right direction. And so I just need to trust in my training because she's been through this and she's like, I know what it's like to be the favorite. She knows what it's like to go through the pressure. And so to hear that coming from her, I was like, all right, you know, you're right. I got this. You know, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Your coach, Tanya Buford Bailey, she was a 400-meter hurdler. I remember that race between her and Kim Batten when they was separated and they both went under the world record. So what is your training like? Because obviously you train I think you train in Austin or some part of Texas. It's hot. Wherever the part of Texas it's hot. It's hell hot. Oh, and so what has she been able to help you with, guide you with, to help Gabby Thomas get to the pinnacle?
Coach Bailey is the best. She is the best coach, mentor. She's such a mom figure, and she was an elite athlete herself. Like she has Olympic medals. So, I mean, I trained like a 400 meter runner because she was a 400 meter runner and she loves having us run. But mainly, like she understands what it's like to be on the circuit. Like she understands what it's like to be an elite track runner. She gets that it is a dog eat dog world. So having her like in my ear when I'm going to races, when I'm lining up before the Olympics, like telling me, you know what, you just got to do what you got to do. You got to figure out how to win. And she taught me just how to win races. And, we can go and talk about, this form stuff all day long. We can talk about, you can do that. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out how to win races and win when it matters. And that's what she knows how to do. And she knows how to coach me how to do that because she's been through it.
Right. That's a good thing. Winning when it matters most. So before the race, I'm just curious. I'm not very superstitious, but do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions you might have before a race?
Absolutely not. I don't do any of that superstition stuff. I don't believe in it because it doesn't matter. It's like if something goes wrong before the race, it doesn't matter. Like if I forget a spike, or it doesn't. None of that matters. Like you just have to go out there and figure out how to win. If my nail color is not a certain color that none of it matters, know. And like I don't do it that way. My coach doesn't do it that way either. She just told me to go out there and be a killer. That's the last thing she said to me. And so
I like it.
You've had one of the best seats in the house over the last 5 or 6 years, this US versus Jamaica, not only on the men's side, but on the women. They have Shelly Ann, they have Elaine Thompson-Herah, they have Shericka Jackson, and before they had Stewart, and they had so many great runners, and yourself and Allyson Felix, and this one and that one. So what's that rivalry like? Do you feel it's a rivalry? Do you know what's at stake when the green, black, and gold to the line, and you got the stars and stripes?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up watching this rivalry. It's so fun to watch. I mean, Jamaica has some heavy hitters. And for me, unfortunately, like coming into professional track, I came in when they were just at the top. Like I was running against Elaine. I was just in those races. And so it was very intimidating for me, but you respect them so much. I think that right now we are in such an amazing era of American women sprinting. Like we are really crushing the game. But it's a give and take. It's a push and pull. Yeah, it's a back and forth. Like, when one of us drops a crazy time, the Jamaicans don't want to see that. They're gonna snatch it right back, and vice versa. And I think that's really cool because we're really bringing women sprinting to new heights. Like we're just such a good product right now because of that rivalry. And even having Shericka out this year, it's really unfortunate to not have your reigning world champion in the race. But it's just part of that give and take. This is not her year, just like it wasn't my year last year, and she will be back, and we will go at it. She'll get back healthy. It's really hard to be really fast for a long time and stay healthy. As y'all know, like it's really hard on your body to be at the top of the game for a while. It takes a lot of management, a lot of planning. And thankfully my coach and I had planned this year perfectly, but I know she'll be back. So, we can't get complacent with it because that's the sport. It's Jamaica versus USA.
I forgot about the great 200-meter runner, Veronica Campbell-Brown, who her and Allyson used to go back and forth before Elaine Thompson-Herah and Shericka Jackson got to it. Your mayor of your hometown in Northampton, Massachusetts, say they will honor you with a Gabby Thomas Day.
Yay.
Growing up as a little girl, and you look at yourself now, I think you're 27 years of age. Could you have imagined your life, say you're 5, 6 years old back then, and you look at your life now? Could you have imagined this, Gabby?
Absolutely not. I really could not. And, I had dreams of like being a doctor, being an actress, but, little kids, they'd say that stuff. But I couldn't have never imagined that I would be chasing dreams like this and actually achieving them. But, I grew up and my mom was such a hard worker and she went after her dreams. And she always told me, like, you have a light, you were going to shine so bright and you were so special. And when you have a parent that instills that in you, you start to believe it deep, like in your core. And so I did, even though I didn't know what that would look like. I didn't know what I would go on to accomplish. Like, I just innately knew that. And so I still carry that. And so I want, my future children and any young girl who's watching me to believe that too. If you genuinely can believe that and think, okay, I can do something special. I am made for this. You can do it. You just really have to believe it. And so I think that, my career, my trajectory has just been, a showcase of that.
That's awesome. I have another question. Listen, we know Gabby Thomas, the academic scholar. We know Gabby Thomas. The job's not finished over in Paris right now, but we know Gabby Thomas, the track superstar. Are there any hobbies or interests you do outside of track and field that we don't know about that you enjoy?
I mean, other than like volunteering, yeah, I have a dog. I love my dog. That's actually my baby. His name's Rico. He's a pug.
See?
And I mean, I just love spending time with him. We go on walks. We go to the park. We go to the lake. Austin is such an outdoorsy town, or, you know, kind of small city. And so I just like to be outside, you know, hang out with my friends. I really have a very, very normal life, like a very typical, simple life outside of track and school and whatnot.
That's dope.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. What's the biggest difference between running professionally and running collegiately? Because you're not running for books now. Now you're running. This is how you pay bills. This is how you get that car. This is how you keep a roof over your head.
Right.
That's exactly right. I mean, okay, the biggest actual main difference is like the recovery. You have to rest. So for me, I think that was the hardest transition. It's saying no to your friends to do things all the time. Like you can't go to these dinners, you can't go to these parties. And that's a commitment you have to make to get to this moment to be a gold medalist. That's the hardest pill to swallow, I think, because it's easy to say, but in practice, it's very hard. And also dealing with pressure. Like I said before, like when you're in college, you're running so many races. You have a team that'll just kind of be there for you. And, you know, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. But if you lose on a pro level, it really can be the end of the world. So it's like, it's like that's paying your bills. You're going to have to go figure something else out if you lose races. And so it's like whoever can deal with that. If you can't deal with it, you're just not going to have a career. But if you can, then you will.
Can you handicap the 200 meters? We got Noah Lyles, who's the American record holder. He's a 3-time world champ. We got Tobogo, and Tobogo is nothing to sneeze at. He's run 9.82 in the 100 meters. He's run 19.50 in the 200 meters, and he went low 44 in the 400 meters. So he has the speed, and he has the strength to really stand toe to toe. We got Kenny Bednarek. Hey, we got Arian Knighton. You can't count out Tyson DeGrasse from Canada. Handicap the 200 meters for us.
Oh, I am so excited for this race. Look, you said it best. I mean, Tobogo, you cannot count him out. He has shown incredible fitness this season, and he has stayed committed. I mean, his 400 strength looks incredible. Arian is just a young prodigy. He's incredible. Kenny shows up, and Kenny is very talented, and he's looked really good through the semis. I don't want to be biased, but like Noah really inspired me with that 100. He showed us that he will figure out how to win.
Yes.
And I love to see that. That's the best thing about athletes. Like you figure out how to win. And this is his bread and butter. So Noah looks amazing. He looks amazing. I cannot imagine him losing a race, but I mean, we're gonna have to see. They all look so good.
Because it comes down to that moment, who can handle that moment, who can be their best self in the moment. Because it doesn't matter. Race tomorrow and somebody else might win. Race next week on the circuit and somebody else might win. But today.
Exactly. They're all capable of having that gold medal. All of every single one of them in that final can have a gold medal in the Olympic 200.
Yeah. When you look back, when it's all said and done, what legacy do you hope to leave both on the track and off the track?
I hope to leave a legacy of giving back to your community, for one. I think that is one of the best things you can do. And that's kind of what I was raised on, is how can you give back to society in a meaningful way? A legacy of showing that if you work hard, you will be successful, and be kind to people. I mean, those 3 things right there, and you're good. You're good. You will be successful. Yeah. So I want the younger generation to see that.
Are there any more world records that the Americans can get? Will you guys challenge that 40.82 that the women ran in Beijing? Is that possible? Can we see Sid and Fem Cabot lower that 50.65 in the 400 meter hurdles for the women? Will we see Karsten Warholm, Rob Benjamin? You have Alison Dos Santos. We have Samba from Qatar. Will we see anybody go up on the world record in any of the remaining sprints?
I think so. I think definitely. I think y'all are going to have to open up your wallets a little bit, because I do think we're going to see.
Damn! Wow! Gabby! Whoa! You spending our money, Gabby.
I hate to say it, but I do think. I think the 4x1 girls, we can definitely challenge a world record. The previous world record team, they spoke to us just last week about it, and I think we are very capable. And the hurdles, yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap tonight. I don't know if it's going to be Femke or Sydney, but I think it'll definitely go down.
Somebody's going to have to run low. If Femke beats Sid, she's going to have to go low 50, maybe even sub 50. Sydney is I'm talking about in great form. She's in great shape. She's a flawless. I mean, she can run the she can run the hurdle, the low for the women and be good. Her technique is so flawless. She has tremendous strength. Coming into it, that 22:07, that's still like what, the 8th or 9th best time run at 200 meters. She's run 48.75 at 400 meters. She's probably, if she run a work at it, get a start right, she might be sub 11 at 100 meters. In order for, and I know Femke is unbelievable, she ran a blistering sub 48 split on the anchor leg. We've seen her win the world indoor at 49.17, but Sid is a different, this is an upset. I don't care what anybody tells you. If Femke Bol beats Sydney McLaughlin-Leveroni in the 400 meters hurdles, this is a huge upset.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening, Captain. No, sir. One thing Sid gonna do, like you said, it's all about moments. And whenever that moment arises, she's always been good. Always shows up to the occasion.
She has.
Yeah. That's one thing. Bobby, the one thing, if you go back and study Bobby Kearse's history, his runners at big meets, they perform. If they line up, they run well.
Oh yeah.
And so that's not the shortchange Femke because she's been unbelievable. I actually kind of want to see that thing come down in the 400 meters, the 4x4. I want Sid and Femke to get the baton at the same time. And let's see what happens. Yeah. Let's see what it's really about. But
matter of fact, you know what? My daughter, she's a freshman at University of Kentucky. She runs track at University of Kentucky. If there's anything that you can tell me that I can pass on to my baby, to make sure she stays inspired and stays disciplined, is there anything you can tell me that I can pass on to her so she
absolutely
continues to strive for greatness?
Oh man, as a collegiate track athlete, I would tell her to just really focus on enjoying the process. Like, I think what really makes a track athlete great is that they're enjoying the environment that they're in, and that they're just taking in every moment of the process and focusing on getting better. Don't focus on every time. Don't focus on every single race, because like you get so many races. Just focus on the overall journey and getting better. And track and field, success is never going to be, a straight line. It's always going to have ups and downs. So she just needs to ride it out and enjoy it, and she'll do great.
All right, got you. Thank you.
Gabby, us at Nightcap want to say how proud we are of you. I know our fans are very, very proud of you. So because of your huge, big win, Ocho and I will be gifting you $25,000. We have your information, and we're going to get that to you ASAP. So when you get back to the stateside, you definitely have a package courtesy of the Nightcap.
You got, but one thing, wait a minute, but you got to buy McDonald's just once.
You got it. It's a deal.
Thank you. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Good luck in the 4x1 and the 4x4. Tell the ladies good luck. Congratulations. And we'll see you down the road.
Wait.
Will do.
Tell Quincy Wilson we going to race when he get home too.
I will do.
Will
do.
Well, get some rest. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I understand you're very busy. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, Gabby, giving us a few moments of your time. I'm sure the Nightcap audience, our subscribers, are going to greatly appreciate this interview. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.